Okay, welcome to the fourth video on the third meditation. In the last video, we looked at Descartes' justification for the two causal principles that are going to be involved in the the first proof of God's existence. So causal principles 1 and 2, those are going to be important for the second proof. But right now we're going to focus on the third and the fourth. The third principle is that there must be as much reality in the cause as in the effect of that cause. We saw in the last video that has a lot of intuitive plausibility. And Descartes thinks it's just a corollary of this. It's just a corollary of 3, that 4, that the cause of an idea must have as much formal reality as the idea has objective reality. And so we're going to see that really 4 is going to be playing a crucial role in the first proof of God's existence. So Descartes' proofs of the existence of God are a posteriori proofs. In the scholastic senses of a priori and a posteriori, which predate the contemporary senses. So if you know what a priori means or a posteriori, what that means, if you've heard that those terms, you probably know them in their contemporary senses. And those senses stem from Kant. So in the contemporary sense, something is a priori if it's independent of experience, and it's a posteriori if it depends on experience. And those are not what I'm going to have in mind when I say that Descartes' proofs of God's existence are a posteriori proofs. Rather, in the scholastic sense, an a posteriori proof reasons from an effect to a cause. From an effect to a cause. So you can hear this in the etymology of our words posterior and prior. So posterior is what comes later, and prior is what comes before, right? They're antonyms. And an a posteriori proof reasons from what comes later, the effect, back to what was prior, the cause. And so it reasons from what's posterior to what's prior, or what's the effect back to the cause. Whereas an a priori proof reasons from what's prior, the cause, down to the effect, from what follows to what follows from the cause. So it reasons from what's prior, the cause, to what follows from the cause, the effect. And so that's an a priori proof. And both of Descartes' proofs are a posteriori proofs. They both reason from an effect to a cause. So both proofs begin from my idea of God, which is the effect, and then they ask, what could have caused such an idea? And they show that it couldn't have come from me or anything finite like me, and so it must have come from God. That's the basic idea behind all 3 of Descartes' proofs. We're only going to look at 2 in this meditation, but that's the basic idea. Okay. Okay, let's turn now to the proof. And here I've given you a reconstruction of the proof, an outline of the first a posteriori proof of God's existence. Let me just read through the proof, and then I'll discuss the justification for each step of the proof. So here's the proof. Step number 1, I have an idea of God. Step number 2, for my idea of God, there must be a cause that has as much formal reality as my idea has objective reality. Step number 3, my idea of God has infinite objective reality. 4, thus there must be a cause of my idea of God that has infinite formal reality. 5, that which has infinite formal reality is God. 6, therefore God exists. Okay. So what justifies each of these steps in the proof? let's come back to 1. So 1 is going to be complicated. Let's come back to it. So for now, let's just suppose 1 is true. And let's look at 2. Well, 2 follows from 4, right? So 2 follows from 4. Why? Well, 4 says the cause of an idea must have as much formal reality as the idea has objective reality. So that, now let's take an example, an instance, my idea of God. Well, plugging my idea of God into 4, I get that there must be a cause of that idea that has as much formal reality as my idea has objective reality, right? So 2 is just an instance of causal principle 4. So 2 just follows, directly as an instance of 4. Now, 4, we'll come back to 3. So 3 is also going to be one we need to examine more fully. But 4 just follows from 2 and 3. Why? Well, 2 says, for my idea of God, there must be a cause that has as much formal reality as my idea has objective reality. 3, my idea of God has infinite objective reality. Therefore, there must be a cause of my idea of God that has infinite formal reality. Right? That just follows straightforwardly. Number 5, that which has infinite formal reality is God. That's just a definition. So Descartes is just defining what God is as whatever has infinite formal reality. That is just God. God is just whatever has infinite formal reality. And now 6, that God exists, follows directly from 4 and 5. Why? Well, there must be a cause of my idea that has infinite formal reality, right? So there must some cause, some existing thing that has infinite formal reality. Why? Well, formal reality, remember, is the reality that a thing has in virtue of what it is, of its existence. And so it's its actual reality, right? And so there must be a cause of my idea of God that has infinite formal reality. So there must be some existing thing that has infinite formal reality. But that which has infinite formal reality is God. Therefore, God exists. Okay. So, to see how the proof goes through, it's left to be shown that I have an idea of God, right? So we've got to do, so this is the first thing to be shown. Let's use little i's here since we've already got big I's and 1s and 2s. So the first thing to be shown is that I have an idea of God. And the second thing that needs to be shown is what my idea of God contains, namely that it contains infinite objective reality. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing that needs to be shown is that I cannot be the cause of my idea. And that's to back up 4. And then the last thing that needs to be shown in order to show that the proof goes through is that nothing like me, nothing finite, can be the cause of this idea. And that's also to back up 4. So really, once we've done the first 2 things, we'll be there. But Descartes thinks 4 is going to come under a lot of pressure. And you might think, yeah, that seems right. I mean, there must be a cause of my idea of God that has infinite formal reality. You think that's the real crux of the proof. And so Descartes spends a lot of time defending for, namely, that I cannot be the cause of my idea of God, and that nothing like me, no finite thing, can be the cause of my idea. So in the next video, I will discuss each of these four sort of further dimensions of the proof that need to be defended.